Alright, so now we are going to create the backend, the admin, I guess, side you can say, for the e-commerce app. So I'm gonna go ahead and say create app, and we will call it ecom. What do you want to call it? Let's call it ecom admin. Alright, with that done, we're gonna fire this up in VS Code. So we're gonna do this like so. Alright, so now the other thing we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and install the dependencies that we need. So I'm gonna come here to my package.json and I'll say npm install, and we are gonna install Axios and React DOM, and we are gonna install React router DOM. Actually, we already have DOM, sorry, we don't need that. What we need is the React router DOM, and then we need to install React Toastify. We're going to learn a lot of cool things, and we're going to install Yup. So this is for the forms. We'll be using this to submit the forms. It makes it much easier, and I think that should be it. Alright, with that done, then we can go ahead and install Material UI. Alright, so here I am on the MUI website. So I'm gonna go to Docs, Material UI. We're gonna go to Installation, and we are gonna npm, and we're gonna copy this, and we're gonna paste this, and boom. Alright, the other thing I'm gonna do is also install the Material UI icons. So I'm gonna go to Material UI icons, and I'm gonna copy this. We're gonna paste this. So I already have eMotion React, so I don't need that. And then eMotion Style, I have that already. What else? I have that, so the only thing we need is this. Alright, so with that all done, then we're gonna go and organize ourselves. So I'm gonna come within the source folder. I'm gonna close this, and actually let's just fire this up and see what happens. So if I come here and if I do npm start, alright, here we go. So we're gonna get organized, and I'm gonna come here and create a folder called components. Right, this is where we're gonna put all our components, and then I'm gonna create another folder called styles. It should be a folder like so. Then within styles, I'm going to create a theme.js file. This is where we can have our theme. Alright, so I'm going to import first of all the create theme from MUI material and styles. Okay, so this is where we're going to let us create our theme. And then what I want to do is create a drawer, because you're going to have a drawer. So I think we did this in previous tutorials. If not, then I guess you can just watch it again. So that's that. So now we need some colors, and then we need some CSS utils, and then here we're going to do the create theme. Alright, so for colors, I'm just going to copy from the front end side that we did. So I'm going to paste that here. So for the front end, the colors that I'm going for, sorry, for the back end, the colors that I'm going for is F06, and it'll be 292. Okay, and then the secondary color that I've chosen is BA68C8. And then the other color that I'm gonna add is a transparent. Alright, and then it's gonna be just 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 like so. And I think one more thing I'll do is just another gray. background, and it's gonna be F5, 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 like so. So I'm gonna save it. Nothing is gonna happen at this point because we're not using this, but we'll get to that. So I need a CSS util. I'll say export const, and we'll say CSS utils. And for now we'll just create a box shadow, and I'm going to type this out. Okay, and then finally we're going to do the create theme. So I took this from the front end because you guys have already, I've explained this in detail over there, but all we're trying to do is create a theme, and we have a palette, the colors we define, and the components. So you can change a lot of things. The final thing you want to do is export this out, default theme. Alright, so I don't need everything in this one. So the shop button, for example, we don't need this, so we're gonna get rid of that. And then we also we have a drawer, and then the drawer for this one is very simple. So I, for example, just need these three, and I don't need this, so I'm gonna get rid of that. What else? We don't need tooltip, so we can get rid of that. Alright, and what else? So I have the colors, and okay, the other thing I'll do is I'll come here and we'll change the app bar. Okay, and I'll do this, and for this I'll do style overrides, root, I'll say background, and I'll say colors, draw transparent. So you will see the effect of this when we use it. Alright, so what happened? I have colors and background. Oh, I need to do this. Alright, there we go. So we're gonna have this, and then the other thing is the button I have, and we're just disabling the ripple. So that should be the theme setup. Alright, so we're not gonna, I guess, come here hopefully, and then we're gonna go to the app.js file and start making changes here. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll get rid of all of this, and we will get rid of all of this. Okay, and then we will do theme provider, like so, and then we need some stuff here. So if I save it, and of course there's a lot of errors, but we're gonna fix it. So the first thing, or I guess not the first thing, it doesn't matter what order you do this. So I'm going to come over here to my components, and I'll create a component that we can host the app. We'll call it admin app.js. Alright, so I'll come here and I'll say export default function admin app, and for now I'll just do admin app. Okay, and then here I will do admin app like so, and I'll save it. Alright, so there's something wrong with the theme provider. So it should be from MUI system, that's one, and then we also need to give it the theme that we created, theme. So is it gonna bring ours? No. Alright, so we're gonna do import theme from styles theme like so. Let's save it. Here we go. Okay, lighten is not defined. Alright, so let's go to theme.js and divider. Alright, so you know what, I don't need the divider, so I can get rid of that. Okay, perfect. So now we're getting somewhere. So no errors. Yes. Alright, so I can close this, and we can continue. So so if you remember, we're going to be doing routing because I brought in the router, so the React router. So what we can do is start creating the routes, and before we create the routes, actually we need the couple of components that we'll be using. Sidebar.js, like so. All right, so now all of them are empty, so what we can do is come here and we can just add these quickly. Okay, so we have created these components, and they're pretty much, you can say, just the skeleton. And the reason is, when we do routing, I want to make sure that the routing we can just quickly navigate between them, and then we can start adding the meat to it. So now that we have those, so we can go ahead and at the root level create a routes JS file, and this we're going to host our routes. And what we do is we will say export. Okay, and then we will do return and then routes. Okay, so this is gonna come from React router DOM, and then we create our routes or individual route. Okay, so it's gonna come from React router DOM. Okay, so we're gonna do an exact match. Okay, so when the root path, then the element we want to show is the dashboard, like so. And I'm going to quickly copy these to create the other routes. Okay, so as you can see, we have what we're saying is, if it's a root or dashboard, then just go to the dashboard, which is the main. It's going to be the main screen. And then if somebody goes to products, then we go to products, and we're going to navigate to these from the from our sidebar, the nav drawer. So now if I come here and if I do dashboard, it's not going to work because we're not actually using the router. So let's start using it. All right, so in here in the main the admin app, what we can do is I'm gonna create a box, and then it's gonna be a display of flex. Okay, and we're gonna give it a background colors dot background, and we're just gonna make it span the entire height, like so. Alright, so what we do is we bring in the router from React router DOM. Alright, so this we're gonna call as a browser router as router. Alright, and then what we will do is we're gonna put in our app routes like so and save. So let's see what happens. So currently if I get rid of this, so it's going to the admin app because it's trying to refresh. There you go. Okay, so that's that. If I go to settings, settings, if I go to products, going to products, and if I go to dashboard, going to dashboard, or let's say I land on the home page, going to dashboard. Cool, so this is working. So now we can start displaying stuff. So it's gonna be just a collapsible drawer, a nice app bar, very nice and modern, and then here we're gonna have the rest of the stuff. So we need to structure this around this concept. So what I can do is, maybe the first thing, because the nav drawer has to push the content to the right and left, it's got to be a nice, smooth transition. So what we can do is start working on that. So in order to do that, I will need to create a container for that, and let's call it main. Okay, and we'll call it style. So now you must be thinking, well, how do I get this? Well, pretty simple. So I'm gonna come here. I'll actually show you. It's very easy. You just need to understand what you're doing. If I come here and I come here to my components on the material UI, and then you go to, where do you go? you are gonna go to drawer. Alright, so the drawer that I'm after is, I think, this one. Yeah, that's the one I'm after. So I'm gonna hit this. So we're gonna take the main, this main guy from here, and I'm going to just paste it here. Okay, it's gonna be some stuff we need to bring. So let's see, what do we need to do? I think I think we should be okay for the most part. Alright, so I'm gonna then come here to my router, and then in here I'll say main. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring this into here. Now if you noticed, this thing takes a prop, an open prop, so we need to supply that. So the way we're gonna do this is create an internal state, and we can say const open set open is equal to use state, and initially let's say the drawer is open. Alright, so then I'm gonna come over here to my main, and I'll say open equals open, like so. Let's make sure there are errors, and there are, because we need to bring in styled. Alright, so style come from material UI styles. Alright, styled material UI. See, it brings it from emotion. You want to bring it from no, that's not what I want. I'm gonna get rid of this one. I'll get rid of this, and what I want is material styles, like so. Alright, a drawer width. Okay, so we have already created that at the theme level, and we can draw width, so that's that. Anything else? No, we're good. And you saw the background color change, so kind of dull gray. I mean very light gray actually. Alright, so that's that. So now what do we do next? We can start working on the nav drawer, and we're gonna stick that right in here. Alright, so we already have navdrawer.js just for that. And what we can do is we can basically come back here. So we already did that, and we can create the nav drawer from here. So how do we do this? I'm going to copy the whole thing, and I'm going to show you how you can, you know, do these. Alright, so now it's going to look very crazy. So let's minimize this. We're going to work through this very slowly. Alright, where did it go? So first things first is we're going to change this. Okay, nav drawer. I'm going to save it. So let's just bring this in and see what happens. So I'm going to come here to my admin app, and then I'm going to come over here, and let's just say if I were to just come here and do nav drawer. Okay, and then we're going to pass in this prop, and then we're going to say set open is equal to set open. So basically the state of the drawer, the open close, is controlled by the parent. It's usually a good practice, I guess. Alright, so there you go. So you got your drawer, and but as you can see everything is messed up. I mean, things are pushed and blah blah blah, so we need to fix this. Alright, so I'm gonna come here, and first thing I notice is this is the main component that we brought. We don't need this because we already have our main component. So I'm gonna get rid of this, and then I am gonna get rid of this and that. Okay, so I'm gonna save it, and of course we're getting errors, and that's because of the drawer width. So we can bring this. That should fix that problem. No? Alright, line 31. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this and paste this here. Oh, save it, two more, 82 and 85. 82 and 85. Okay, so that fixed that problem. So as you can see now, that thing is gone. It still is not pushing our stuff, so we need to fix that. Okay, so the other thing is we need to, yeah, so remember this state, we move that out. So I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get rid of this. We don't need this as well. I'm gonna save. Okay, there you go. Perfect. So now it's pushing our stuff. Very nice. And that's good. All right, so let's fix this app bar. All right, so it's a toolbar right here. All right, so I'm thinking this app bar, we could move this out of here and just into its own component. So I'm going to do appbar.js, and what we can do is we can say export default function app bar. Whoa. And like so, and then I can do return, and then what I will do is I'll come here to the nav drawer, and I'll take this app bar, the whole damn thing, and just cut it out of here, beep, like so, and we're gonna stick this here. It's gonna be a lot of noise, but we're gonna fix it. Alright, so it's gonna complain about the app bar, and then so well, let's say, well, it's not going to complain because we're not using it. So I'm going to come here to my nav drawer, and I will say, actually I should save this. Alright, so app bar, I'm going to save it. Oh, there you go. Alright, so there's a lot of missing stuff we need to just bring from here to there. So let's see the menu icon. I'm going to take all of this, go to the app bar, and I'm going to paste it here. So whatever isn't used, we'll just get rid of it. I'm going to save it. Alright, so app bar is not defined, so I'm going to go back here, and we need to get rid of these things that we don't need. Okay, like so. Alright, so this is the app bar, so I'm gonna cut this out of here, and we're gonna bring it here. Alright, so the drawer width that I can see. Okay, so everything's saved. Okay, style, style. Alright, so we have already done that. So I'm gonna take it, and we're gonna paste it here. I don't think so I need the use theme. Okay, what else? Alright, so MUI app bar is not defined. Alright, so I'm gonna cut it from here. I'm gonna paste it here. What else? Unexpected user open, Alright, so I'm gonna come here and pass open, like so. Handle drawer open, where's that? Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to take this function from here, pass it here. Alright, and now we need to go back and do that here. Alright, so open is equal to open, and handle drawer open is equal to handle drawer open. Oh, handle drawer open. Save it and see what happens. Let's refresh. Okay, so looking good. I mean, nothing much changed, but now we have a little bit of clean structure here because things have been moved around into their own components, which is kind of nice. Okay, and so then what we need is for us change these, and if you come to drawer, they are right here. So what the Material UI is doing, the example, they're kind of they have this array, and then they're just kind of going through it. So what we can do is start changing this, and I'm gonna take this all this and then save it. So what this did is just got rid of that bottom portion, which is kind of nice. And then I don't need this array, so I'm gonna get rid of this as well. And then I don't need this key. All right, and then if I save it, it's gonna, I think, error out, yeah, because the index not defined and blah blah blah. Right, so we're gonna fix it. So we have, let's format this. All right, so we have list item, and the list item is a list item. And then what we can do is create a button. So since I'll be creating a couple of these buttons, so why not we just create a component for it. So I'll just do, and I'll say const my list button. Let's call it my list item button because it's a list item. Okay, and like so. All right, so we'll be passing a couple of things to it, like if it's selected or not, the icon of it, the text, and then when it is clicked, so we can say handle nav bar item clicked, like so. All right, so what do we do here? Well, pretty simple. I'm gonna take the list item button from here, Control C, and I'm gonna paste it right here. Okay, and then so the text is text. All right, and we also need the icon. So what we can do is I can list item icon, and we can just give it some props. All right, so what do we have? So color, if selected, right, then we want to give it a colors primary, like so, and then within it we are going to display the icon that's passed to it. So that takes care of that. And then when this button is clicked, right, then on click I want to do this handle button clicked, and we want to know what was clicked, right? So to do that, I'll just pass us back the text that we passed in. All right, so now if I save it, of course there's going to be still error. So let's start using this. So instead of all this, I can do my list item button, like so. Now there's nothing here because we're not passing the props, so we need to pass those. Alright, so what we can do is, first of all, I can do the function, and it will be handle nav bar item clicked. Now of course this doesn't exist, so we're going to create it, and I'm going to say const, we will say item, and for starters let's just console log this so we know it works. Alright, so that's that. Okay, what else? Alright, so we need to pass in the text, so the text will be for the first one, let's say dashboard. Alright, like so. And then we need an icon. So the icon that I want to use will be from Material UI. So if I come here, go to the Material UI icons, where are they? Okay, and if you come here to the search, and there's a one for dashboard, and I'm going to take the dashboard icon. Let's copy it, close, and I'm going to come to the top, and we're going to paste it, and let's scroll back, and this will be dashboard icon, like so. You can save it and see what happens. Beautiful, it's there. Alright, what else? And then we need the selected, right? So if I say true, what will happen? Nothing happens. That's because we're not we're not doing anything with the button, so we need to fix that. Alright, so we're gonna do we're gonna just use the SX props, and the way we're gonna do this is like this. If selected, okay, then we basically just spread this and it'll spread into the this button. So we'll change the background. So background will be colors dot white, and then we will do a border radius of 2 and font weight bold, and color will be colors dot black. So that's the font color. There you go, beautiful. So that's working. So that's the selected one. And so I'm going to bring in the other icons, and we can then add other menu items. Alright, so I brought these in, and now I'm going to come here and use them. Okay, so as you can see, all the icons are here. Now the problem is that since selected is true, so all of them are showing that, but if I remove that, then that's gone away. So now we need to keep track of which menu item is clicked, and for that what we can do is have our state, and we can do const selected item set selected item, and we can use a React state for this. Alright, so then every time an item is clicked, actually let's just see if this comes through. So products, messages, customers. Alright, so that works. Okay, so what we need to do is we can say set selected item to the item. So that way we'll keep track of which item is clicked, and then in the selected, what we can do is we can say selected item dot includes dashboard, right? So this will then see when it's selected, and it just will highlight itself. So I just need to go ahead and do that for the others. Cool. So as you can see, now I can click the different menu items, and the highlighted ones are, well, you know, coming through nicely. So now the next thing is to fix this drawer, because I don't like how it looks at this point. Alright, so to do that, we can do that at the theme level, so we don't have to fumble around with the drawer component. And if I come here, we have the MUI drawer, and style override, you have paper, so the width is good. So the background, I'm gonna change that to transparent, and I'm gonna change that to light. Let's see what happens. Would you look at that? Just with honestly just 2 lines, it already looks much better. So I'm liking this. Alright, so the next thing we can tackle is this toolbar. So let's fix the toolbar. Alright, so if I come here to my app bar, as you can see I have the toolbar. Alright, so let's see if we can do this. So color. So what if I do colors dot black? That's the first thing we will do. Okay, and then the other thing we will do is, so let's call this to be admin dashboard. Okay, so that changed. Alright, and the other thing I'll do is I'm gonna set the elevation to 0. Don't like that. Right, and then I want to have a search bar here instead of this. I mean, we can have this, but I also would like to have a search bar at the top. Okay, so but before we do that, let's figure why this color is not changing, and that's here. So if I come here, I'll do colors dot black. Alright, so that fixes that, and I can do font weight bold. There you go, nice and bold. And I think I'll leave this at that, and then So here's the thing, I want to show this here when the drawer is open, and otherwise it's okay there. So the way we can do this is right here we have the icon button, and actually yeah, I'll do like this. If we are not open, right, then do this. So let's see what that gives us. Yeah, okay, so that shows it here. And I guess for the to show it then on the inside, we're going to go to the nav drawer. So I'm going to copy this from here. I'm going to go to the nav drawer, and we can display it here. So right here what we have the drawer header, I can just do like this, and typography is not defined. Okay, let's just type it and see if it will bring it. Typography, typography. Alright, okay, I think when we are open is what I should say. Aha, there you go. So when we're open it's here, when we're closed it's here. Beauty. Cool. I like things are I like how things are coming along, and really like the sidebar. It's minimalistic and beautiful. Alright, so now let's add that nice beautiful long modern search thingy bar. So that's gonna be right here. So we're gonna go back to the material UI, and we're gonna find an example of that. Go to app bar, and find, I think I want to find this one. So search icon. So I'm going to take all of this from them, copy it, and we're going to paste it right here. Save it. Alpha is not defined and input base is not defined. So let's see. So let's bring in the input base from MUI material input base. Okay, that fixes that problem. And then there's this alpha thing. Do we need the alpha? Do we need the alpha? Where's alpha? Line number 30. Background color, center of the search. Alright, so you know what? I don't need this, because what I will do is I'll just do colors white. That takes care of that. There's one on line number 32. Okay, on hover, what do you want to have happen on hover? Well, on hover I'm gonna do a border, I guess. That's what I feel like doing today. One pick solid colors.light. Alright, get rid of those errors. Alright, so because we're not using this, the search whatever. So how are they using it? Beep. Alright, so let's see. Search icon wrapper, search input base. Okay, I think I can just take the whole damn thing, and I can come right after my typography and beep, use it. So what if I save it? Yeah, I should not have done that. Search icon. Oh, alright, we're gonna go to the top and we're gonna paste it here. Actually, I'm just gonna paste it here. Save it. Well, there you go. You have a nice ugly search thingy. Alright, so we need to fix that. So I need to pass to this search the when the drawer is open. I'll make this 25. There you go. It's nice and rounded. And then I don't need none of this. Okay, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Does it push it? Oh yes. Beautiful. Alright, I'm digging this. Alright, so now this is a problem and we don't have the search icon. Okay, so we need to fix the margin left on this. So right now it's 0. Where did it go? Bow, bow. Alright, since we're not using the theme, I'm gonna pass in open, and I don't need the margin right. But what I do need is when we are open, because we want to give space to that guy, I want to be 0, otherwise 10. Ternary thingy. Alright, so I'll go to search and I'll say open is equal to open. Okay, so I think we need to come here in this one, and I need to say, can I do it here? Overflow? Oh, I can actually. Let's just make it visible. Yes, that fixes that. Alright, I don't see the search icon. I don't know what the heck is going on with that. So I can do colors dot light. How's that for starters? Yeah, I don't see the search text. It's supposed to be search text. So if we go to our search input base, because it's doing a color of inherit, so get rid of that. There you go. And should we just maybe, let's try something. Font size 1.25 rem. Yeah, there you go, a big search. And I think that should be, that's pretty good, I would say. So let's see, good, very nice. Let's go full screen, digging it. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to the products and blah blah blah. You can start adding that. Alright, one thing I realized about the search bar that it was way too longer. So what I did is when I click on it, it expands. I think that's more nice. So the way I did it is, if we come over here to the style input base, I basically under the theme.breakpoint small, I just added this and focus. So which means whenever we get focus, the width is going to be 50 characters long, like that. Otherwise it will stay to 20 characters. And I think the search, this thing is too big. I'm going to remove that font size, and see, that's much better. So I think these are 2 changes. So now let's move on to the products and see if we can start adding that. But before doing that, I realized that as a transition, when I click on these, we're not going to the pages. So let's fix that. So that should be under nav drawer right here. And where we're going to navigate is, I'm going to minimize all that, is that I'm going to import. And then what we can do is we can come here, navigate, use navigate. Alright, and then where we click on the thing, we can do navigate to item. Let's save and see what happens. So dashboard, products, messages, there's nothing, customers, settings, beautiful. So that's working. Okay, now I'm going to go to products and we are going to start adding stuff here. So we're going to create the skeleton first, and then we're going to add maybe mock products, and maybe we will add, when we do the backend, we'll tie the whole thing together. Alright, so first things first, let's get rid of that. Alright, so we'll do that. Alright, so I'm gonna add a typography. Alright, with that done, as you can see, it's kind of going under the search bar. So let's fix that. Alright, and I think the reason is because there's usually a drawer header element that you need to add. I think should be here where we use the app routes. So let's see if we can bring in the drawer header. It's not coming up. So let's go to name right here. So we need to export this. Okay, that's one. Then if I go back here, and if I do drawer header, save it. There you go. So that will push everything. There you go. So that looks nice actually. All right, so we're gonna go back to products and let's start adding stuff. All right, so we need a button that will let us add items. So I can do button, and we will give it a start icon of add. So we can bring that from material UI. Okay, and we can say add product. There you go. Let's give it a variant of contain. That's beautiful. Alright, so when this button is clicked, we want to be able to add products. So for now, let's just add a click handler. Alright, and now we're gonna add the table. So I can say table container. Alright, so I need to bring a couple of these from material UI. Cool, so we got all these entries right now, and it is responsive, as you can see, which is pretty cool. And then we also need to add entry. So for that, what I will do is just create a mock array, and in here I can add the name, let's say bag 1. Okay, so now we're gonna go through this and we're gonna display this. So I need a table body, and then I can do products dot map product. Alright, so it's gonna have an ID. Okay. The reason why I'm having this kind of ID because Mongodb kind of uses this, so we don't have to then later on change it. And beautiful, so that's showing up. So actions should be where we can have an edit and a delete icon. So let me grab that from material UI. There you go. I would like the delete icon to be red, just because to convey the message that this is a dangerous or destructive action. Cool. Alright, and now when these are clicked, I would like to have some handlers. Okay, let's go ahead and implement these. Okay, let's test this out. So I'm gonna come here and let's clear this. So if I do edit, okay, that's the product, and delete. Cool, so we're getting both our actions, so that's working very well. Alright, so now what we can do is we can add a form that when we hit this button, it's gonna pop up and we should be able to add a product. Alright, so for that, what we should do first is let's bring in formik, and you will learn, if you don't know already, how to use formik to make your life easier actually when working with forms in React. So we will import first YUP or yup. Alright, so this will make our form validation a little bit easier. And then the other thing I want to bring is formik form field and error massage. Whoa. Alright, and with that done, okay, let's do some mock data. Alright, so we need to establish a validation schema. So what we can do is we will do validation schema is equal to yup dot object. You create an object and then you shape it. Alright, so what's the shape? Well, we just need to add the fields basically. So let me show you how. So let's say we have a name. It's going to be a string. Okay, it's going to be required, and in case there's an error, then we say name is required. So that's kind of the idea that you do the form validation. You just say what type it is and any error messages. There's a lot more you can do, but for us this is good enough. So let me add the others. Alright, so as you can see, for price, for example, I'm saying here it must be positive. You can do the same for the quantity. You can also do a regex for the SKU. Let's say you want to follow a certain format. So definitely you can do that. Alright, so with that done, then we can come down actually and start using it. But before we do that, we need to bring in the dialog and dialog stuff, because it's going to be inside a dialog. So I'm going to keep this separate from the material UI stuff. So first I need to bring a dialog. Alright, so now that we brought these components, and now it's time to use them. So how do we use them? Well, we're going to come here, and after the table container we are going to create our form actually. So what I can do is I can say dialog. Okay, that's one. Then we need a title. Okay, that's two. Then we need dialog content. Finally, you need dialog actions. Alright, so that's going to tie in everything together. Okay, so if I just open true, there you go. So our teeny tiny dialog is up on the screen. And what I will also do is I will say full width. Okay, and then we can do max width. Let's make it large. Like that. Alright, with that done, let's do a dialog title, and we can say add product, like so. Okay, let's actually move this here so we can see more of it. There you go. So add product. Actually I should do this probably. There you go. Alright, so now for the dialog content. So this is gonna be all enclosed in the formik thingy. So the first thing I will do to make it easy on us, I will come here and encapsulate everything in the form. I think you have to do it all the way up to the dialog actions, yeah, because there's going to be a button, so we want to use that button when we submit the form. Okay, so that's the form. Handle reset. Alright, so yeah, because we need to start, once we start adding the rest of the formik stuff, then it's going to fix itself. Alright, so then what we also need is above this is we need the formik. Okay, and you need to supply initial values, and the initial values that well, we need to create that first, so we're going to create that, and then we need the validation schema, which is the one we created, validation schema, and then we also need the on submit, and we will say handle submit. Okay, like that. And then what we need is also basically it's a function, so what we need the dirty prop and it is valid prop and get field props. You will see how we're going to use this. And then what we do is this. Alright, so then you take everything, including the form, and you just put it inside. Oh, something not right. Oh, that's the initial values. So to do that, we're going to create a state for it right here. And what I can do is, while I'm here, I'll say const, and I will say initial values, set initial values, and we'll say use state. Alright, so we're gonna say ID -1 would signify that it's a new product. Cool, so these are our initial values. So now I can come here and I can say initial values, and let's see if that works. Okay, so that's good. Handle submit is not defined, so let's go ahead and define the handle submit. I think I can minimize my table. Alright, so I can come here and I can say const handle submit. So when you call handle submit, formik is going to give you all the form values, so you can then do whatever you want to do with it. So we're going to log it for now, but definitely we want to send it off to our server. And so handle submit and handle submit. I thought that's what I called it. Anyways, okay, there you go. So everything is back in action. So we need the dollar content stuff now. Alright, so we're going to use a grid. Alright, and we're going to use the grid 2 from Material UI, the new and improved. So I'm going to come to the top, and we will say import grid from at MUI material unstable grid 2. Still unstable, but we're still using it. How cool is that? Alright, and then I also need I don't need now. Alright, so with that done, then we can say grid, this is going to be our container. Alright, and we're gonna give it some spacing of 2. Alright, so what do? We create the grid. Okay, so we will do grid, and basically we were saying just take the whole space, and we'll create a field, and this is going to be as a text field. Now what is a text field? Well, we haven't defined it yet. So we're gonna come here and we can say import text field from MUI material text field. So what you're trying to tell formik is basically render a field but use this, the text field. Alright, so now what you need to do is you need to give it a name, and that name has to be same as you used when you do the initialize your when you do the form validation and enter the initial value. So I'll say name. Okay, and then you want to give it a label. Label is what will be displayed, is what the user sees. So we can say name like that. Okay, and we want this to be required. Alright, and that's easy to put a asterisk. And finally, I want this to be full width, so you can take up the whole space. Alright, so there you go. So now how do you display the error message? You have the error message component that we actually brought in. So you will give it the same name as the field name, so which is name, and the message will be message. And so I'm going to close this, and what you want to display is typography Okay, and we want to just give it a color of red, and we will display the message. So if you don't want to do, for example, you don't want to display red or anything, you can just put the message as is. But since I want to change the color, maybe you want to put a link here, so that's why I'm doing it this way. You know, a bit advanced. Alright, so now we have there you go, see, that's how the error is coming up. So now basically all I have to do is I'm going to replicate this same process for the other fields, which is the quantity, price. So I'm going to zip through this. Cool, so I got all the fields in, and now what we can do is see, that's the error message. So now we can add the actions. So that's gonna go under the dialog actions, and we can add a button, and let's call it save and cancel. Save and cancel. It's kind of ugly. We need to, you know, make it a little bit better. So this one, I'm gonna make it a type submit. Okay, variant contained, and let's make it a color of primary, just to make it stand out a bit. Alright, and for the cancel button, what I will do is I will just make it autofocus. Okay, because the fields are required. So now let's basically go ahead and control the state of the form so that we can open and close it when we press that button. So we can say open, set, open, use state. So initially it's closed, and then here where we set it to true by default, there we go, I'm going to do open, so that's going to be closed. Alright, so when we click handle add product, now is the time to do set open to true. Alright, let's hit it. Cool. Alright, so when I hit cancel, I want to close the form. So if I come here, I can do on click set open to false. So that should close it. Alright, so that's working nice. Alright, so actually we should be able to see the value. So let's just do bag 1, bag 12 actually, $44, blah blah blah. For this is a test. So if I hit F12, I should be able to see, that's not the error from the past. I should be able to see my my form values. Perfect. There you go. So now everything is coming up. So now we can, you know, basically shoot this off to our server, and things are looking good. So I'm going to cancel that. So one thing I would like to do is you see how everything is blank and the button is still active? I don't want that to I don't want that. So we want to prevent that from happening, and the way we can do this is like this. We can say the button will be disabled, right, if the form is not dirty, okay, or is not valid. This is why we brought in these values right here, dirty and valid, and we will use the other ones you will see shortly. Alright, so if the form is not filled in, or the form is not, I guess, correct, then this is disabled. So I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to refresh so you get a fresh start. So I'm going to come here, as you can see. So now let's fill everything in. So test. I'm just gonna, there you go. Your form is not, as soon as I delete something, it goes away. So that prevents the error from happening actually, instead of you catching it. So that's one. So the other thing is, when I hit the edit button, I also want to show the same form so that we can edit the values. So how do we do that? Well, so we have this edit, and I think we have a handle for it. Let's see. And product added. Alright, so we want to show the form. Alright. So let's say I hit it. Boom. And we want to be able to, two things we need to do. We need to pre-populate all the fields, and also this should be a different button, something like save edit or something. Alright, so how do we do this? Well, so we're gonna come here and I'm gonna do set initial values, since we are passing in the product, so I can do that. So let's see if this will. Okay, so there you go. So now the values are coming in. So now we need to take care of this button. So the way we do this is right here. Right here. So we have this button. So we know that if we have a value in here in the form, it's going to have an ID. And if you guys remember, we set the initial ID to -1. So we're going to use take advantage of that. So let me enclose this first, like so. And then I will do like this, that if get field props ID dot value, if we have a proper value, right, so that means we're dealing with an existing entry or product. Otherwise we're just dealing with a new product. So I'll just save edit. Alright, so this the type of this will also be submit, and basically that's all we need to do. So let's organize, save, and there you go. So if I hit this, oh, okay. Oh, so one thing we need to do is when we hit the save or the add product button, we need to reinitialize the form, otherwise it remembers the values because it's state, right? So it will remember the value. So when we do this, so before we do anything, we need to do set initial values, and all I'm gonna do is just copy this, and basically all we're doing is resetting it. So let's see, if I hit it, there you go. So it's still save edit, so something is not right. Actually I'll say -1. Alright, there you go. That was a mistake. Okay, so here you go. So it is saved now. That means a new product, but if I hit edit, that's an edit. I'm gonna hit this again, and perfect. So it's looking good. Alright, so I can make my changes. Alright, and there you go. So that's working. Oh, actually let's change this to, let's say we got new inventory is 12, and if I hit save edit, there you go, and here you go. So you can when you go to the server, we're going to check if this ID exists, and that means you're updating the existing product, but we're going to get to that when we do the backend. So that's that. So now let's add, when we hit save, let's add this product to our shelvie, to our inventory, or sorry, the list right here. Let's do that. So what I can do is simply products.push values. The only change I'm gonna make is I'll say values.id math.random, just generate a random number, no, multiply by 1000. So let's see if this will work. So I'm gonna hit add product. Let's say bag 44, price $99. That's the SKU. We have 9 of them. This is a cool okay, just cool bag. Let's save it. Alright, something is not right. Oh, I know why. There you go, it got added. So there's a couple of problems we have. When we add a product, we need to close the dialog box. We're going to do that. Alright, let's refresh, and I'm going to add again. We'll say bag 3, $44, 44, 40, whatever, save. There you go. So that's added, and I can come here. I can't do the save edits yet because we need to go to the server, but as you can see, I think it's working very well. Alright, so with that done, I think now we can move on to the back end, start setting up the MongoDB. Then we're gonna create our Node.js server, see how we can do the schemas, the routes, everything, and then connect the two, and it's gonna get very exciting from this point onward. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next chapter.